We both drinking Doors Scotch at that time. We're at the restaurant, and we were looking out over the ocean. We're at Virginia Beach, and you said to me, and if I embarrass you, I'm sorry, but I think it just shows you, it just shows how what an ordeal it is, and how much concentration it takes landing and taking off my carrier. And you said to me, you know, Skip, that tonight out there, I've got guys and gals out there doing night takeoff and landings in the carrier, and I've done more than anybody else in the Tomcat. And just thinking about that, I'm getting sweaty palms.
That's true. The day, all of those, how many carrier naval aviators are out there? I know there's a few. Nobody? I can't see. Anyway, I know you're out there because it's dark and you're hiding. But in fact, I'm sitting here, and I'm glad you brought that up, because flying on the ship is a great challenge, and it's truly, and I think it really does separate naval aviators from the rest of the world. And when you get into the night business, particularly in crummy weather, then it's even that much more difficult. And the levels of concentration you have to do to come in and successfully do that, not just the landing part, but the sequence, flying the perfect approach, leaving Marshall, which was the holding pattern. You leave that exactly on airspeed, exactly on altitude, plus or minus 5 seconds, because somebody's in front of you 2 minutes ahead of you, and somebody's behind you 2 minutes at night and 1 minute in the daytime. So it takes a lot of concentration, a lot of instrument scan, and a lot of precision flying. And then the approach, of course, needs to be really rock on, because really, if you're flying down there, once you get to the ramp, the perfect glide slope at that point is only plus or minus about 2 feet. So your airplane, you got to put it through a little window that's about 3 feet square, as far as the tail hook sliding through that, so you land on catch the third wire, and hopefully the LSOs are being magnanimous that night, and they reward you with an okay, or maybe even a fair. It's not a good night, maybe something a little less, but hopefully you land safely. But I was looking up tonight, and I said, it's almost a commander's moon, because those of us who stayed in the business long enough and got to be squadron COs and stuff, we'd send all the JOs out when it was really black, but when the moon was just coming up like it is now, and there's a little bit of a horizon, that's when the old guys go. So it's a poignant tonight that we have a commander's moon while we're going to watch this movie.
It also seems, I remember another story, and I'm not sure how you can discuss this, but I think it was the Maria Shriver story this summer at Top Gun. You think can you tell us that in the G-rated version?
No, it was completely G-rated.
Yeah.
Arnold was there, you know, I can say.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was. I was bouncing at field paralanding practice, day practice. We were going to go out to the boat, and I happened to be in the pattern down at Fentress, which is the outlying field for Oceana in Virginia Beach. And I was in the pattern, and on our tactical base radio came up, and the duty officer said, "Hey, Snort, you got to come back and land at the field. Come back. The skipper wants to see you right away." So I immediately started prioritizing the 10 things I knew I would be potentially in trouble for, and developing stories to alibi myself. Anyway, I land, and this was right after the movie had come out, and I got in the Fighter Pilot of the Year award. So what they wanted was, Good Morning America, or I can't remember which one she was at, but anyway, they were flying me to New York to be interviewed, you know, as the real life sort of Tom Cruise Top Gun thing. And I remember we were sitting there, and just before we actually went on air, she started asking the question, said, you know what? You know, there must be something about the movie that's, you know, doesn't really portray real life. And I said, well, there were a couple things. One is we don't sweat when we fly. And the other thing, it doesn't take 3 dates to woo the girls. So at that point, she has sort of a square jaw, kind of slightly more square, and we didn't discuss that when we got actually on live TV. But it was a great time anyway.
Now, I know you were the CEO of Fighter Squadron 33 off the America. You want to tell us about those good old days? Just a little bit?
Well, being a fighter squadron commanding officer is probably the best job in the world, other than being in the wing commander, which is truly the best. But that's one of the jobs if you're a naval aviator, and that you really aspire to. And it's very competitive to get there. And once you get there, I just had an absolute blast. I was surrounded by great maintenance